All right, before I start, let's do one of my favorite activities. Let's see if you can follow me. 1, 2, 3. All right, we're all here. All right. The irony is that that used to work for kids when I used to teach them. So, let's start. So, I like ReadMes because I've had to learn a lot just by reading other people's work. I moved from being a hobbyist to being let me start my timer so I can get off the stage quickly enough. And thank you. So, I learned a lot by reading people's stuff, then understanding that it's important because my first piece of school training is as a literacy specialist I did a double major in literacy and teaching science education. So I both know how to teach you to read, and I know how badly we teach tech. Okay. And to hell with it. All right, so I currently work in the capacity as a junior engineer at a company called Hygieno. One of our offices is based in Atlanta, and I currently work in the junior space again. I say again because I went to mid, and then I got burnt out, and I said, to hell with this, and we're gonna start again. If you're still reading, there's an ice cream recipe in there. There you go. All right. So, I like sponsors for 3 reasons. Really comfortable swag, connections, documentation. I always urge anybody who go to a conference who's shy and are afraid of speaking to people to go speak to them. Because sometimes their job is to just talk to you. Sometimes they may have resources you need, opportunities, connections that you need. Or they just need to have somebody to talk to because that's the job. Good? And they make things like this happen for communities, tech communities. Without them, a lot of this wouldn't be possible. So, talk to these people. Disclaimer, everything I'm about to say is my opinion on anything. I, used to tell my students, can be wrong. If I'm wrong, and you see something that I need to fix, when I'm done, I have a big thing that you can send me a message. I got no problem fixing stuff, giving you the credit, and moving on. Cool? I don't have a tech ego. So why do we write docs? My go-to is that good documentation is a love letter to yourself, or maybe 2 people. That's all I have on that. You don't write docs or ReadMes for anybody else except yourself. So when the bug comes at 10:30 in the night and you feel like spinning up a project and staying up until 1 o'clock and you have no clue what you're doing 4 days later, you wrote a brief description of what you wanted to achieve, that's your brief docs. ReadMes are the same. All right, so here's my situation. You built something that has the ability to generate power for teleportation. By the way, the only thing that's holding back the practical application of teleportation is power. That's it. Because you have to decompress matter, recompress matter, and keep the data stream. That's all you have to do. If you can figure out how to make power work, you're golden in shipping. That's it. That's where they are right now. And I've been keeping up with this research because I saw Star Trek in 1995. That's the only reason I keep up with it. So if you did all of this, you built this thing out in your basement, that is where all the good things come from. And there are no docs, and God forbid you get hit by the school bus or you win the lottery and never want to go back to your house ever again. How does somebody else recreate what you've done? And that's the same thing for tech. You have millions of people who build wonderful solutions to niche problem. No docs. Nobody knows anything. Cool? All right, so here's how I break down the problem. Here's why it's a big, big problem. I put it more into words. Nobody understands what you're doing because there's no documentation. It hinders adoption. My biggest problem with this, and I've lived this, is that when React came out, Angular was also in the same place. And I read the Angular docs and went, what the hell is this? And I've never touched it since. I read the React docs and go, okay, kind of sort of makes sense. I've used it. I don't live there anymore, but I've used it. It increases the support burden. People keep going, hey, how do you use this? How do you use this? You have no docs, nobody knows. And you keep having to answer emails and messages and get rude stares in public. And it reduces us talking to you about it. So nobody in the community really wants to say, hey, this is something I may want to look into, even though it's probably the better solution than what we have out. So here is how I start to think about it now. The reason I keep pushing documentation on every level of engineer, seniors in this room are gonna know that, yes, this is a necessity, we need to do it. We have to have conversations with management why it's an efficient use of time. But if we don't write stuff down, the people on your team probably don't know what to do. Mid-levels and juniors in this room are gonna go, it's all in my head, I don't really know why. Cool. My grandfather was carpenter. For 30 years, he had a book this thick that he walked with from 30 years worth of jobs. And all it is basic how to do anything. And when he gets a junior or journeyman, he gives it to him. That's his docs. My dad cooks for a living. I've read enough recipe books to last me a lifetime, and this is how I hold a knife, just out of practice, because I've been taught by the books. So documentation is the same. Your documentation is a hallmark for you as a craft person. That's all it is. Implementation, because I got 8 minutes and 46 seconds. So, basic structure. We go, what's the plan? This is for you, this is not for the reader. You plan it, you execute it, you iterate, you ship. I would change this a bit, because I'd go plan, execute, ship, iterate. But my brain wasn't wired that way while I was writing this thing. So here we go. Again, I get to iterate. Then you tell the users what you want to do. And then you start small. It tends to be, if you're doing very small, 40, 50 lines of markdown. That's all it is. And you do it, if you update your code regularly, you make time to update your ReadMes regularly because things change. Right or wrong? Right or wrong? Right. Cool. Moscow rules. What you need, what you maybe want, what you could have if you had more time and more people, and what we're definitely not going to write about. That's it. So, your audience at all times when you're writing documentation, articles, or anything, figure out who you're writing to. My go-to is that I normally have something, if I'm writing something that I know is going to be widely read at a specific level, I write for the floor of knowledge. You don't know anything coming in. Or I have a prerequisite. I say, hey, if you're going to do this, you should know this, 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 and this. If you don't know these, go here, read them, or reach out to me, and I can give you a hand. When you're done, you come back, and then we go. So you have a prerequisite because you know your audience. Do I need to talk about the next point? Because we know, keep it simple. Okay, I said this morning. I apologize if it sounds a little bit rough. A person is very smart. People are idiots. Again, one person is smart. A collective, we're idiots. Because we will see the thing and the thing says, don't turn left. Ooh, it looks pretty over there. What are we gonna do? Turn left. Okay, so you keep it simple. So, when you're writing your ReadMes, code examples are a good idea of what we want it to look like. Stuff is simple. Cool? You structure it appropriately. So this is how I think you should go. There may be other opinions, but this is the general rule of thumb I've seen based on my research and how I was taught. You go project description, how to install, how you use it, examples, how to contribute, and license. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 steps. That's all I ask. And yes, I did write an article about this. So I'm going to pause for a second for anybody who wants to take a picture of it. And it's basically my version of 2,000 different articles. I just push stuff together, I go, cool. I write nothing and I present nothing for anybody else but myself first. Because every time I have a problem, I can go, cool, I did write an article about this. Let me go back and look at it. The first version of this article was written, it is now 2025, it was written in 2019. When I was just learning, when I came out of boot camp. Because that was one of our projects and I was a thing for documentation. I wrote the first version of that. I wrote another version now because I'm like, cool, let's add more flesh to it. Let's have more parts to it. Let's have a conversation about it. There's probably going to be a third version in 5 years, but here we are. Cool. Here's why it matters. It is practical because we need to be kind to each other and we need something that we actually can use. It is humane because we in technology are all striving while we make oodles and moodles of money to be kind, ethical human beings, right? Right? Are we not agreeing with the ethical part? Fine, fine. Most docs require some amount of legal agreement. So if your stuff is open source, otherwise you may have to talk to legal. And yes, I'm serious. So, start small, stay focused, ship early, document. It shows competence. That's what documentation does. If you can explain it in words to somebody else, something very technical you're doing, you know what you're doing. And it's a win. And I ask you to commit to your next ReadMe. So, recap. I got 2 minutes. I need us to make this a thing we do when we build stuff for ourselves and others. I'm asking very nicely because behind me in 5 years, there's going to be another version of myself working for your team as a junior, as a mid, as a senior, somebody coming from another field, another language, another speciality. And the first thing we tell them to go do when they start a project is to go read the what? The what? Docs, ReadMes. Half the time, we don't maintain them. So, I'm asking us to make time to fix and or update them. Do the thing, keep doing the thing, and keep doing the thing. I'm asking, because I've seen enough problems with it. I worked at Cartoon Network. You don't want to see how badly they document shit. And last but not least, your project and your users deserve it. It's kindness. And that's the last of it. Questions? Anything? Otherwise, thank you.